Okay, so today I'm going to put a video up showing you how to do this Access Module 2 SAM project. But before we start on that, I want to talk a little bit about this extra credit I put up here. So on Fridays, I have this up in there, for you guys to do, and most of you guys are skipping this. So to help you, I put this up extra credit. It's just the textbook project. So when you come in here to SAM, this here, going to my class, I'm sorry, when I come into my class here, so this was on the 29th, and it's this textbook project. So you don't have to do this, but you can for extra credits, 10 points. It won't go against your grade, but it will help you. It's one full grade of a test grade. If you go in and do this project, go ahead and start it. Just submit it into SAM. When you start this, you'll see, like any assignment, you get to submit it 3 times. And, and so you go through and follow the steps, and then you can submit it there. And I do apologize about the sound cutting out last week. I don't know why after 1 minute of recording both times, and I'll check this video before I put it up to make sure they have sound all the way through. I know that's a drag, so I do apologize about that. Let's go down here and look at this project here. So we're going to start this project here. So it tells me I can submit it 3 times. I hit start. Now the instructions for this, I've already opened up the instructions and I've printed them out. I always print them out. So I need to save this file. And then as soon as I do that, I go into my downloads. So near downloads, that file, I'm going to cut it. I cut it out so I make sure I don't screw this up. Now I need to move that to my documents, and I have a folder in here, Fall, CS110, Access Chapter 2, and I paste that file into that Access Chapter 2 so I don't get confused. Next thing I need to do is take this one off, put a 2 on, so I'm going to right click before I ever open this, rename this, click behind that name, type 2, hit enter. And now my file's got the right name in that. I can open it and start it. Okay. As I said before, got the instructions right here. It's kind of a drag in Access. They don't show you, at the end of these like they did in the other assignments what it should look like. But we're going to go through this step. It's Rural Health Associates, and so. Okay, so reading the instructions here. One of the first things I always do is make sure this grading info table's here. If this is not here, you cannot submit this for a grade. And so I've had students before keep asking me, why won't it let me submit it, or it's not giving me a score back? And for some reason, when they sent you this file wasn't here, so I'm going to close it. If that wasn't there, I would close this down. I would go start all over and get a new one. Anyway, they tell us in step 1, rural health, social health care manages rural health clinics, undeserved areas that you work in patient service departments, information specialists. So first thing you do is create a query for the family table that includes the family date, blah, blah, blah. So whenever we create a query, we always use query design. The only time we use the query wizard is for a crosstab. And one thing I tend to have to do is just make sure I have the table. So this is going to be on the family's table. Now you don't have to do this, but it makes it so much easier when I go to query design. And right over here it has the tables, and it has the right table highlighted, so I can just click on it. For a lot of you, this will be floating out here too. But anyway, I click family and adds that table. If for some reason I would have double-clicked that or put the wrong one in, you put to it, you can right-click these and remove tables. Also, if I close that and I need a table, you can always go up here to Show Table, Add Tables, and pick tables and add more tables. Okay. One thing I've had students before say, well, I want to add the table and I didn't see it. Well, it could be because you're under queries over here, and what it's doing is trying to build this off queries. So that's why it's important to make sure what you have highlighted over here, because then you have to go to tables to find it. But anyway, so we want to make sure we have this family table, and the first thing we're going to have is family ID. We're going to have last name. We're going to have state for all families, okay, and then apply criteria to select records where the last name starts with a K. So under last name down here, I'm going to come into criteria and I'm type K, and then I need to put an asterisk behind that, because if I typed only K, it would look for names that only had the K, and there's no name in there, just has a K. What this says, this asterisk says, I don't care what's after the K, so find all the names that start with a K. So when I run this, I see there's 3 of them. So I know that query's done correctly. And one way I can check that, remember, I can go look this family table, and I can just go down here and say, okay, how many K's do I have? And see that there was 3 in here before I ever did this query. So there's Kasuma, Kelly, anyway. So that's the nice thing about it. I think this test is actually the easiest test if you know what you're doing. So anyway, we're going to save this query. And we're going to name this K Families. But we want to be very careful about the spelling on that, because it's 11 points for each one of these queries to make sure I've got that spelled right. And now I can close that query. Okay, open the birth date query. So I'm going to open this query up. I need to go in there and adjust it to have a birth date after 1/1/1980 and who are female. So I go into design here. I come down under criteria. Now, when I run this query, I'll just go back here and run this. I need to see, oh, female, it's just in letter F. So when I go back here to design, then I just need to put the letter F here. There's no other letters behind it. As far as date of birth, I need to have this greater than 1/1/1980. So when I run this, I want to make sure all the birth dates are after 1980 and they're all female. So I hit run. It looks to me like they worked out great. They're all after the 1/1/1980 and they're all female. Now it tells me to apply the medium date format. So I need to go back in design. I need to make sure I'm in this date of birth field. And I go up here to what's called the property sheet. And over here under format, make sure I'm in this field here. I can pull this format down. And hopefully you can see this. And there's a medium. So make sure I put medium date on there. Run this one more time to make sure it works. So that is the medium date format. I can close this and save it. Yes, I want to save it. Create a crosstab query. Like I said, the only time when we go to create here that we use the query wizard is for the crosstab query. So we click query wizard and go to crosstab. When we start crosstab, first thing we have to figure out is what are the column headings. So which table are you the query? Oh no, first I have to figure out what table. So I create a crosstab query based on the family table. So I want to make sure I have family table highlighted, and then I can go next. Which values do you want for the row headings? When I read this, it says groups the income by the county and state. Use the county field. So I'll make sure I use the county field for the row headings. When I go next, it says what do you want to use for the column headings? And it tells me in step 3 to make sure that you use the state field for the column headings. And then it says calculate the average income. So I want to have income and average on this. And then yes, include row sums. Do you want to summarize each row? For each row, hit your state column, calculate the average in. It doesn't say that, but it says use family crosstab as the name. So when I go next, I'm just not going to worry about it. It tells me family underscore crosstab, so it even has the right name, and say finish. So that's the way it might end up looking. Close that. Now, step 4, export the professional staff tables. When I go up here, I'm going to external data. I have an import and export. Normally when we import, we're bringing stuff in. When we export, we're sending stuff out. So it tells me export the professional table as an Excel file. So when I export, I want to pick Excel file. I have to figure out the file name I want to give this. And so they tell me that that's saved using export professional staff. So specify the destination name format. So I'm going to go browse. I'm going to put this in my file. I'm going to put this in my 110, access chapter 2, and come down here and change this file name to export dash professional staff. Make sure I have that right. Professional staff. I'm just checking my spelling over and over. As the name. Note that this is the default name. Okay. So file format, export data with formatting and layout. So Excel without formatting or layout to the same folder. Export the table as an Excel file without formatting. So I don't need to check that. I just screwed that up big time. I picked the wrong table. So what I did, I exported. That's why I put birth date in there. I need to do this all again. It's not going to hurt. Make sure I have this one selected, professional staff. That's where I screwed this up. That's why I didn't put the name in. When I click this, it'll default to that name. And it's already in that access chapter 2, so we don't have to worry about that. And we just say, okay. And then when it says save steps, don't have to worry about that. Didn't save things, so close. And now it's right. And don't worry, the first one won't mark wrong. But what I did, I sent 2 of them out here. And I want to make sure export professional staff. Professional staff. I worry because when I sent that one out here, it just was professional staff. It didn't. I think I'm going to do that all one more time just to make sure. So, professional staff's highlight, Excel. when I go here to browse, because it should have X